My boyfriend is never satisfied with the upkeep of my apartment, and I'm so sick of it. He does help out when he comes over. This is not a gender role thing. He lives with his clean freak mom and sister, and they always keep a spotless home. They're the kind that don't let him touch anything or even help out, because they both have OCD and think he can't do it the way they do. He used to live in his own place before moving back in with them. He had no pets, very few furniture, and always hired someone to clean, so he has no idea how hard it is. I have 2 cats, and 1 foster which is staying in my room until she's spayed. My room is out of order at the moment, so I use the guest room. I work part-time, and uni semester ended literally yesterday. I have my hands full, and apartment is not spotless, but it's livable. I vacuum the entire apartment twice a week, once a day for the entrance hall and the kitchen. I don't mop the floors unless something is spilled because the feeling of a mop on hardwood floors make me gag. IDK, why I have a thing with wooden surfaces. I can't even have ice cream on a stick. I've come back from visiting family 3 days ago. My bathroom flooded while I was gone. Cat litter boxes needed cleaning, cat hair everywhere, laundry piled up, dust on surfaces. I took care of 90% of those tasks, but I slept on the couch as I couldn't get around to clean the guest room yet. My boyfriend insists that my apartment is dirty anytime he comes over. He picks up a task and tells me to help out. Every hangout starts with us cleaning. But yesterday, I had enough. I cleaned for 2 hours after my shift, only for him to tell me he can't stay the night because the apartment is still dirty, because I hadn't mopped the floors and washed the couch covers yet. There's always something he's not satisfied with. If I do everything on his list, then he asks me if I dusted the bookshelf. If I do that, he'll ask me to scrub the bathroom, because he doesn't feel comfortable to sleep here. So today, I told him we should meet outside, so I could come home and clean by myself without worrying about him being uncomfortable. He insisted to come, and when he did, he had no complaints. In fact, he told me that the guest room bed is clean enough, so I don't need to wear myself out cleaning the rest of the apartment at a late hour. "Don't stress yourself out," he said. That's when I snapped. How come you're complaining the apartment is dirty anytime I'm not cleaning, but telling me you're worried I'll get tired when I'm cleaning? "You're the reason I stress myself out," I said. He answered, "Well, your apartment is very dirty, but this bed is clean, and that's all we need since we will be sleeping." He was talking about the apartment I had just cleaned. I just hate hearing "still dirty" after I bust my butt, you know? It's still unmopped. But it's dusted, vacuumed, bathroom is disinfected and scrubbed. Kitchen is mopped and surfaces wiped. That means clean. My home is clean. But now I feel like it's dirty too, because I listened to him yap about it for a year. I need a drink. I can't be with the one girl I actually have feelings for. I've known her since we were 10. We grew up together, and for a long time, she was one of my closer friends. I always had a crush on her, and she was really into me while we were growing up, but due to circumstances regarding each other's lives and other relationships, we never went past sending nudes to each other and kissing a couple of times, but we always told each other that we were meant to be. I didn't have the best time growing up, as my dad was a pretty bad alcoholic. I remember my first time running away from home. She snuck me into her house and let me sleep in her bed so that I didn't have to sleep outside. She also had a really hard childhood, as her family life wasn't the best. She was the reason I found out about what self-harm even was, because she showed me and I didn't know what to do or what they were. I vividly remember being in 7th grade and freaking out when those grainy photos popped up on my cheap little flip phone. I remember how much it hurt me to see her in pain, and I made myself a promise that I would always be there for her in one way or another. As we got into high school, we both got mixed up with the wrong groups, and we did a lot of drugs and partied a ton. I ended up getting myself into 3 semi-serious relationships, think a year minimum for each, and she ended up dating some guy who was 23. Mind you, her and I were only 15. This guy was a piece of shit, and he really took advantage of her in so many ways. But he was in her life when both of her parents died, and even though I don't think she'd ever admit it, she was definitely groomed by him. By the time we both turned 20, we both got away from our tiny beach town. She had moved to San Diego with him, and I moved to Long Beach with an ex of mine. My relationship with my ex was toxic, and it was on the tail end of its lifespan. That's when she had messaged me out of the blue and told me she wanted to see me and wanted to go out to dinner. I made plans, got the weekend off of work, and then she just disappeared on me. 2 weeks later, I see that she's engaged with her groomer, and it just destroyed me. 6 months later, I had moved to Colorado. She comes back into my life, and we start texting daily, calling, FaceTiming, sexting, and making plans to see each other. But after a month, she tells me doesn't want to rush anything serious because of her mental health and ghosts me again. I eventually moved back to Cali to attend school, though I'll be moving away again in a year to attend law school. She hit me up and then ghosted me once more, and then I didn't hear anything from her till about 3 weeks ago. I had blocked her from my Instagram, just couldn't handle seeing her because then I'd just think of her constantly. But when I had posted photos of me and a girl I took out, she liked all of them from her business Instagram account, messaged me, and called me as soon as she saw the photos. She told me that she had moved back to Cali and that she was only an hour away. After all these years, I finally was able to properly be with her, and I drove out to her place 2 days ago. We went out to dinner, we had drinks, and we hooked up and spent the day together. It was amazing. But the next morning, she tells me that she's moving away, out of state, in 2 weeks, and she was just so nonchalant about it all. It crushed me, and while I want her to stay, I can't and don't want to force her to stay. She's a free-spirited, creative, beautiful person, but she's like a dream. Impossible to catch. She says she wants to see me again before she goes, but I don't think I have the mental fortitude to come to terms with the fact that it is, once again, not the right time. On one hand, I feel like she just strings me along, yet on the other hand, I tell myself that she deserves all of the chances and excuses in the world due to everything she's been through. Ultimately, I wish I didn't care so much, because if I didn't, I wouldn't hurt so much. Nobody will read this, but if you do, thanks. I, 38 female, am married to my husband, 39 male, for 17 years. Recently, when he was drunk, he told me a secret. Our best man at our wedding had been his first lover. In fact, before he dated me, they had had many intimate encounters spanning across most of his teenage years. The thing of it is, he had told me he was a virgin. I was a virgin when we met, and he told me I was his first. I believed that for most of our marriage. Honestly, it wouldn't have mattered to me that he had a previous relationship. It also wouldn't have bothered me that it was a guy. I'm not homophobic. We have a gay son, and there are many of our family members that are bi, but it bothers me that he lied. That would have been hard enough of a revelation, except for a few more details. On top of that lie he had, his former lover was the best man in our wedding. To me, that wouldn't be any different from having a former female lover in our wedding. Why on earth would someone do that? To make matters worse, I'm pretty sure that relationship continued for some time after we were married. In fact, after our first son was born, he insisted on going on an overnight with his best man. I thought it was strange back then. I remember saying to him, "You're a married man with a child, having sleepovers is kind of strange, I need you here with me and the baby." But he went anyway and came home around 2 a.m. crying. He said he was crying because he missed me and the baby, but after what he said the other night, it got me wondering what really happened. Slowly, he stopped hanging out with his friend, and now they only interact when his friend works on our car. He's a mechanic. This all makes me feel like our entire relationship was built on a lie. Did he ever really love me? Did he marry me to prove to his parents that he was straight? They are very homophobic. And if so, why use me like that? I've always felt like a freak because he didn't seem to be that into making love to me. I have a higher sex drive and he doesn't, and for a long time I have struggled with that. But now with this new information, I wonder if he was ever actually attracted to me. Would he have been happier if he had married his best man instead of me? How long did the relationship continue after we were married? We have several children together. I've been with him most of my life. I believed I was his one and only. I feel so shattered, betrayed, and confused. I really don't know how to get past this.